Welcome to the 111 Approach podcast, your go-to space for deep thoughts, real talk, and exploration of everything from spirituality to self-development and the mysteries of life with some light-hearted humour along the way. I'm your host, Lakshmi, aka the 1 Minute Healer, and each episode will dive into different topics, sometimes personal, sometimes thought-provoking, but always authentic. So whether you're here for some new perspectives, inspiration, or just a fresh take on the world with a bit of randomness thrown into the mix, you're definitely in the right place. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into it. Just a little PSA before we start the actual episode. This was such an interesting conversation I had with my guest that we ended up talking for over an hour, and even after the editing, it was really difficult to take some of the bits out because I was like, it's all valid and it all needs to be heard. So this is going to be a two-parter. We didn't know it was going to be a two-parter when we were recording it. So enjoy. This is probably one of my favorite episodes because we touch on so many topics, and so there will be a little intermission in between, but please do sit back, listen, enjoy, and be great to hear your thoughts on this brilliant episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the 111 Approach podcast with me, Lakshmi, aka the 1 Minute Healer. I wanted to, as always, start with gratitude. So thank you for being here and thank you for listening. Your appreciation and reviews of the podcast have been amazing so far. So keep them coming in. I do love hearing your feedback. And today I've got a special guest. His name is Kuldeep, aka Kooks, is a serial entrepreneur and investor. He co-founded Mr. Singh's, which is a brand of delicious crisps. Disclaimer, actually, I haven't yet tried them.
I'll get some over to you.
Because your girl's been trying to eat a bit healthy, yeah. But I have heard very good reviews. And also, I have to say, your Instagram is so good and so entertaining. Well, I'll be very honest, I'm slightly scared to try them because your girl's not a great Indian.
They're spicy. They're basically flavorful. That's the main thing, that they are flavorful and they've got some spice. So the ultra hot ones that we make, they're the ones that we tell people not to buy, but people still buy them. But the regular ones, they're like genuinely, no, I'm not just saying them because they're ours, but they are delicious and they're like what the flavors we grew up with. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be able to handle it.
I'll be honest, like I said, my cousin, shout out to Note convenience stores up in Batley. He's one of your stockists and he raves about them. And I was like, send some down to your girl, innit? But anyway, like I said, I have been more consciously eating healthier. So crisps are not on my menu yet. Mr. Singh's crisps, it was a startup, obviously. I think your dad's recipes.
Yeah, my dad's recipes, we started in the garden shed.
Oh my gosh.
£900 on my credit card, and then we just took it from there.
And from that startup in the shed, it's grown to a global food brand in just, and wait for it, people, in just 3 years. 3 years. And now they're being featured on the BBC. They supply to Tesco, Sainsbury's, Selfridges. You've attracted millions of viral video views. I'm not surprised because you need to go and check out their Instagram. I will leave everything in the show notes below. Their videos are so entertaining. You've even advised on 10 Downing Street on business strategy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's always like mind blowing. So my brother and I always have these conversations when we have these like pinch me moments, and we sit there, we're like, we're just these dudes from East London, like these goons, and we used to mess about. And here I am at 10 Downing Street speaking to their business person, and they were asking advice on what small businesses need in the UK. I'm like, how have I gone in this journey from where we started off to actually being invited to 10 Downing Street and going through all the security checks and walking into this iconic building and speaking to them? It was one of those pinch me moments. Like same when like I've flown to New York, or we've been on TV, we've been on the radio. They're just really incredible moments.
That's so cool. And like, you know what? I hear you because it's a bit of that imposter syndrome. It's like, what, me? That's like, what are we doing here? Like, I remember going into Houses of Parliament the first time last year, and I was again there this year for International Women's Day, and I was just like, wow! Like when you go through the security and stuff, and you're just like, this is actually real. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, right. It's like imposter syndrome, partially, and then also I suppose having limiting beliefs about what's possible, and then you have these like reality checks, And it's like, oh my God, I'm actually in this particular moment right here, right now. I'm going to soak this up to the maximum because of like various life experiences that teach you that the moment is the only thing that counts.
Well, I'm glad you kind of very nicely helped me segue into why the reason I wanted you on this podcast is not just because, well, actually, I'll be honest, I didn't even know any of that information until you
Yeah,
sent it to
true.
me.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
Cooks and I met through founders networking.
Yeah.
And we kind of clicked quite easily. I really liked your vibe, left your energy, and also I was like, this man not only does really great business strategy and coaching, because I think I met you that was my first masterclass I'd gone to. And we had a one-to-one as well, and the advice you gave me on just that minute call really helped me. So I was really grateful for that. And then I found out that you do crisps. I was like, whoa, my favorite snack. Right, be friends with this man. But yeah, no, I jest. But like I said, I've been following your page. On top of all that list of accolades, he claim being the biggest word here, claims to be an undefeated Connect Four champion. Now, I was just thinking, we should have actually had a match before
Yeah.
this episode.
We should have filmed it.
We should have. Well, what we could do, we could have a follow-up episode. We can now have a live Connect Four match on Instagram, and let's
I'm
do
on
it.
it. Anything like that, I am
Come on.
100% on that.
But yeah, circling back to the actual main reason I wanted you to come on as a guest on the podcast was because during some of our conversations, I think you commented on one of my posts and you said something about you also had some kind of you've had a few near death experiences, and that really changed your outlook and perspective on life. And I was like, whoa. I definitely want you to come on, and if you're comfortable to share and speak about this, because I've had a few myself,
Yeah.
that I always love to get other people on to just share their experiences and their outlook and how it's changed them. Because I know not only near death experiences for myself, but then also losing my dad in lockdown very suddenly, that completely like changed everything for me as well. So it's not just the grief part of it, but actually then having my own very close calls. You'd think that'd be enough to wake like you up, but then sometimes
Mm.
it's like you forget about it, and then something else,
Yeah.
like, oh shit, life is very fragile. So if you could let us know maybe your first near death experience and how that changed you.
Yeah. So I came across a really cool quote. It said, plan for a long life, but live life like it's short. And I really loved it because it's true. Like most of us, we're actually going to be lucky enough to have a long life. But we forget that life can actually be quite fickle. So for me, like my first experience of death was when I was quite young, like losing my grandmother who used to live with us, and she, we were really close. But I think that's like a relatively normal experience for a kid.
How old were you?
I feel like I was maybe 7.
Oh, it's me too. I was 7 when I lost my grandma, and we used to live with her as well.
Kind of, that something sad is happening, but you're kind of okay. But the real like big one for me was when I was like 11 or 12 years old. My family and I, so we went to India and Punjab, and my dad really wanted to show us like the village. It was like one of our first big family trips to India, and so we'd been going on all these like road trips, and one day we were coming back from somewhere. I think we were coming back from Ludhiana to Jalandhar, and I'll never forget it because it was pitch black, and we were in this tiny, what do they call them? Maruti van. So basically, it's like a tiny box. It's probably like only 2 meters long and like a meter and a half tall. It's just this tiny box of a car. Oh no, no, it
In
wasn't. It wasn't. It's like a slightly bigger than a rickshaw.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like, imagine a smart car that we've got here, but a tiny
Yeah.
bit bigger. And so in the
Uh-huh.
front, you've got the driver, my dad in the middle, and my mum on the left hand side. Then in the back seat, there's my brother on the right, me in the middle, my nanny who's holding my youngest brother. So at that time, I was like 11, 12 years old. My middle brother would have been 7 or 8. And then my youngest brother, he would be 3 or 4 years old. And so it's pitch black. We're driving, and then we just see these two like lights in the road ahead of us. And the lights are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're telling this guy, like, hey, guy, there's something coming towards us. And the next thing we know, these lights are massive, and the guys hit the brakes, and the car that we're in veered to the right, and we've been hit head on by this massive truck. And obviously, like in India, I don't know if it was one of their local buses or a truck, but it was like 3 times the size of the vehicle that we were in, and it's hit our vehicle head on. And I just remember opening my eyes after this crash, and like my mum's in the front seat, and she's covered in blood. My dad's passed out, my mum's passed out, my nanny's passed out, my brother's next to me crying, my youngest brother's next to me crying, and the driver's passed out, and I seem to be okay. And as I come to my senses, I start screaming. I'm like, yo, what the hell has happened here? And I'm like, oh shit. And somehow that vehicle that hit us, it was full of people, and they've all jumped out and they started tearing this vehicle apart that we were in. And they dragged my mum out, they dragged my dad out, and my brothers. And I look at my mum, and her leg is completely covered in blood, and I see like a bone sticking out of her leg, and she's passed out. She's got a massive gash on her head, so her face is covered in blood. And so I'm in shock to what's going on here. My dad seems to like regain his consciousness, and they just bung us in the back of these cars that seem to be passing by at the time. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. And so anyways, somehow, by the grace of God, luck, whatever you want to call it, there's no ambulances, and I'm shouting at people to call an ambulance, but there was a hospital about 15 minutes down the road. So they had ripped this car apart, stopped passing by cars, and put us in the back of several different cars, driven to the hospital. And that's basically where we got to. And I realized the extent of what had happened. So my dad had broken his arm and his leg. My mum had shattered her leg, and the bone was sticking out of her leg, and they were gonna cut it off. She'd shattered her hip, and she was unconscious as well. My nanny had dislocated her shoulder. My middle brother had luckily bruising, and my youngest brother had sprained his ankle. He's like 3, 4 years old. But that was our first like near death experience. So like I said, I was 11, 12 years old. And when we got back to the UK after a couple of weeks and just got on with life, like we very slowly started to realize that we were different. And that led to a few years of like quite bad behavior. Like my mum and dad were not there to kind of watch over us for long periods of time. Like my grandma had to try and look after us. And then a few years later, my mum actually got breast cancer after recovering from that accident. And I think it was to do with manifesting guilt and pressure on herself because she wasn't able to look after her boys in her words. And so she was out of the picture again as she was dealing with and recovering from breast cancer. And so my brothers and I were kind of left to our own devices to look after ourselves. And like, we're from East London, so we'd go out and do stupid things and mess about and hang around with the wrong people. But we started to realize that life can just disappear so quickly from you, and that you may as well just go and do whatever you want to do because none of it really matters and none of it's really true. And that first experience, big experience, started to kind of sow the seed of the life philosophy that I have today. And then when I was like 16, 17, I had like a lot of anger issues at that time, probably stemming from this experience and, like my dad not really being in the picture. And we had an incident at home, like between my dad and me. So I didn't really get on with my dad. And,
Why was your dad not in the picture? Was it because he was working?
no, well, kind of like, so he was working, but then rather than kind of spend time trying to be with us at that time, he then went out to try and start a business. And so like my mum's in hospital, he's kind of recovered and started off like a business venture in the evenings because I think he was still working at the time. So back in the days, like he the kitchen part of a restaurant called Gymkhana in East London.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Gymkhana.
my dad was the first one to do that. So that was all his food and all his recipes. And actually all the
Wow.
stuff from there led us to actually start Mr. Singh. So it's all strangely interconnected. But so my dad wasn't there, and he wasn't really a dad as such. He kind of let us just do what we wanted to do.
I only asked because it was very similar to my dad. Was not there because he was always
Yeah,
working, like they ran their own business, and then when he wasn't working, he would play
yeah,
cricket. Then he would travel for cricket. So I can just resonate and empathize with you
yeah.
because I feel very similar to that because my relationship with my dad did have a rocky part, and then we repaired it, and then he passed away, and I was thinking, shit, I was, we were just getting to that point where I'm making up for lost time, and
Right.
then it's taken. So yeah, that's the only reason I asked.
There was that, and then there was, like Punjabi household, so there was drinking involved, and that altered
Right.
relationships, and there's a lot of complexities that adds as well. And so when I was like 17 years old, I had this kind of altercation with my dad, and at that time I used to just like lash out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to smack this guy in the face. And rather than doing that, there was a door, and I smashed my hand through this glass door, and the glass went through my arm, and it was it just started like spurting with blood because I'd cut an artery.
Oh my
Yeah, so I
gosh.
lost about 4 pints of blood. Super, and I was like spraying blood all over my walls. It was disgusting, and my middle brother was there, thankfully, like to help out, and I collapsed, and then ended up in the hospital. And actually, that summer, I just got into a really prestigious art college that I was due to start when I turned 18. And I was right-handed. I'm an artist, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to draw or paint. Uh, I had I had like 3 months to recover and try and get some movement back in my hand. But again, like because I'd lost so much blood, and that experience had happened due to anger, it taught me that again, life is so short, it's so fickle, and actually this emotion of anger is holding me back, and I have to learn to harness it and to not give other people control in my life, and hanging on to things and hanging on to actually other people's baggage and other people's perceptions of what bothers them, that can affect you so much and hold you back so much as well. And so again, that near death experience, it just taught me to let go of things as fast as you possibly can. There's no point holding on to them. You have to learn to forgive. You will never forget, but then you have to move on from that and harness the thing that kind of got you there in the first place and try and spin that into a positive. Um, and so, yeah, that thing happened. And then actually, I forget that once when I was at school on the bus, that someone pulled a gun on me. Uh,
What?
yeah, yeah, this like, I think I was like 15, and he like put it in my ribs, and I was like, oh God, what the hell is going to happen here? Um, when I was 17 as well, 16, we went to Kenya. We left their kind of compound, and we were walking to the shops and walking back. Got stopped by police. They wanted a bribe, and I saw the gates open to the house, and I legged it. And these guys were carrying machine guns, and they like pointed the machine gun at me because I'd run off. And luckily, my brother was there to stop them doing that.
Oh my
Yeah, so it's just like
gosh.
my own stupidity of doing things like that. But again, that they could have just quite easily just put a bullet in me, and that was it. Job done.
Wow.
All these things happen and have happened, that make you realize that it's also fickle. And then, you know, the passing of people that are so close to you. Like my couple of years back, we lost my youngest chacha, and then 3 weeks later, my grandma passed away from a broken heart of losing her youngest son. And then like last year, like my mummy, who's like my mom, like she passed. And then in October last year, my best friend, like my brother, his dad passed away, and I'd never seen a live burial before. I think we were talking about, I've never seen, because like in our culture we don't do burials, we do cremation. So like
Yeah.
he's Turkish, and it was like a Muslim ceremony. I'd never seen a burial before. So seeing him lower
Yeah.
his dad's coffin into the ground, and then the whole ceremony, and they put flowers on the coffin, like, geez, man, that is so insane to see your best friend bury their dad. It was so like visceral. And so
Yeah.
like when you have these moments and you have these experiences, I feel like there's a choice to be made. And for whatever reason, I've been lucky enough to become aware of these choices that you can make, but you've got a choice to make that those experiences can break you, or you can take something from it and to try and turn it into something that's going to enrich your life. And so for me, I feel like, well, if I can embrace life and embrace incredible people in my life, embrace every single moment as much as I possibly can, that's going to extend my perception of how long life is and how long a day is. Those things have informed and shaped by the type of person that I've become today. So
Wow.
there's a few of them. I'm sure a few more will like crop up, but
Yeah. But firstly, just thank you for just openly sharing and just being like really vulnerable in terms of like, yeah, I guess just like share, like I'm still trying to wrap my head around a lot of this, especially the gun ones. Like
yeah,
that must have been so insane. Like you were what,
yeah.
15
I was 15.
and you're on,
Yeah, so I was on the
wow.
bus, like top deck of the bus coming home, and the guy just came and sat next to me and he just put it in my ribs. Yeah, I think he actually tried to sell it to me afterwards. Well, I managed to speech myself out of it, and then I think he tried to sell it to me.
What?
Yeah, it's just
Oh my God. Oh God. Sorry. Sometimes I laugh when I'm nervous and I'm laugh when I'm like in immense pain. For me, laughter is like my default thing. It's just like, oh my gosh, that is
yeah,
insane. I love how you've said that you have a choice,
yeah,
right? And that is right. We always have a choice. There are always choices. And one thing I did want to like highlight when you said that, it can either break you or you can look and take the lesson
mm,
from it. I also want to add to that though. I think sometimes it's important to let it break you
yeah, that's right.
because when you get broken, you fix yourself and you pick yourself up and you sometimes like, when they say like you have to break the egg to get to the yolk, right? Or whatever
Yeah,
it is. I don't know what the saying is, but sometimes there's things that break you. When you rebuild yourself up, you've got like some next level resilience and next level determination and perception of, right, I've seen and lived through these horrific
mm,
experiences, and they've broken me. Like when my dad passed out, I'll be very honest, it fucking broke
mm,
me. It broke me, and it took me a while. I'm still healing from it, but it took me a long time, and also I had to deal with a lot of people's um I guess like their perceptions of me being a spiritual person or doing Reiki or being in this industry, and they're like, "Oh, but you should know that he's in a different form," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know all of this stuff, but doesn't mean I'm still not allowed to grieve. Like I'm still allowed to be sad." And for me, I'm very honest. I'm like brutally honest. I don't like surface level shit. So if somebody asked me how I'm feeling, I'd be like, "I feel
yeah.
shit. I absolutely feel shit." But,
You know
it
what? It's
is
so
what it
hard,
is.
like when like you hear that, to try and not give advice or try and make someone feel better. Like, it's weird. Like the only thing that you can just say is like, okay, well, like, I'm here. I don't understand what that feels like, but
Yeah.
okay,
And you know what? Thank you for saying that because I think you're right there. What I didn't, I think my ex taught me this a little bit because I was so open and honest about how crap I was feeling. Because I was like, no one bloody tells you. There was like, oh, I'm coping, I'm coping. I was like, no one freaking tells you how much it
yeah,
hurts. No one tells you how much these dark thoughts that go through your mind, like for a long time. Like I used to wake up and I thought I was first thing in the morning, I'm like, fuck, I'm awake. Shit. I thought it was a bad dream, but actually, no, it was
yeah,
reality. And you have all these thoughts. And I remember when my cousin lost, so just to put it into perspective and also just backtracking for the listeners who are not of Asian origin. Nani means your mom's mom, so your grandma, your maternal grandma. Chacha means your dad's younger
yeah.
brother.
Younger brothers, yeah.
Yeah. And then your mummy is your mom's.
I think we might just need a chart.
I think so. I mean, very helpful because you do know which auntie and uncle are from
Yeah,
which side
exactly.
because you have these different titles. So you said mummy,
Yeah,
didn't
my
you?
mummy G, yeah, she passed.
Mummy is your mom's brother's
Yeah.
wife. So yes, I will have to put it in the show notes, and I'll have to maybe find some kind of
I'm
Google
sure there's a
photo
graph.
about the tree of how this all works in the Indian
Yeah,
language. Because, but it's very helpful because when you said that, I knew exactly who you were
yeah.
talking about. But then to try and translate it into to um to English terms, it's a little bit convoluted. But we'll get there. But yeah, I grew up in an extended household as well. So my dad, his two older brothers, my grandparent, like my dad's parents, and actually my dad's aunt who was disabled lived with. So we were 17 people growing
Wow.
up at one stage. Yeah. So I'm very close with, all my cousins and the people I was also living with. So as you said, you had lots of deaths very close
Mm,
together. Like again, I can resonate because from 2020, after losing my dad, then from that one household that we lived in, 70, we had four other deaths, of five deaths in less than 2 years or less than 2.5 years. And it was just like bam, 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 bam. And I was just like, how much more death can
yeah.
someone take, to the point where people are like, look at me, I'm not coming to your house because everyone keeps dying around you. And I'm just like, I get it. I don't know what's going on. It's
I
like,
think you don't realize how much of an impact it has on like just life, and then how long it takes for it to just not level out, but for your life to kind of hit another consistent phase. Because that one
mm,
experience, it might throw you off course for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and then you've got the kind of recovery period that comes after that. And in that period of time, life goes on, and
mm,
like you as a person, or those people that have experienced that death, like they have to live, like they have to carry on whether they like it or not. And
mm,
I feel like going back to this whole concept of, I can't remember where I said it, but I said that everyone should have a near-death experience because it will just it would eliminate so many people feeling sorry for themselves and depressed and all these other things so quickly, I think, because once you start to realize how fickle it all is and you have those constant reminders, it can really inform how you deal with things. Because, like, what's the point of holding on to something that someone pissed you off about, or they said something to you, or, like that thing didn't work out, or, like in business, you have every day something goes wrong, and it's like normal. Every day something goes wrong. Every day there's a problem. Every day there's a new challenge. And so, of course, you have to recognize it's true and recognize it's there. But if you hold on to it and carry that with you, it can be like a noose around your neck. And like, what's the point of it?
yeah.
Like, I'm one of these guys. I'm the one that's always reaching out to my friends saying, like, hey, like, what's up? Like, do you want to do something? I'll come and see you. I'll come and do this. I'll come and do that. And it's so um like easy to get disheartened if people say no, they can't, and or for whatever reason they're busy. And like, to do that with no expectations, like, I'm that type of person, because I just know that, well, like, they haven't been through the life experiences that I've been through. And so I actually
Mm,
just want to go and meet that person or do that thing because, like, I get the chance to do it. Like, why not? And I think also, actually, just reflecting on it from just as I'm speaking, growing up, my dad kind of saved us from being, I don't know, like these goody two shoes boys. Like, he was always very much a free spirit. He's an art student from the '60s, and so, he enjoyed herbal medicine
okay.
for like 40 years, and like, he didn't want us to go down the traditional route. He wanted us to go and explore the world, and
So
sow
cool.
your wild oats, and be what you want to be. Don't worry about school. Don't worry about work. And so, uh,
And that was your
yeah, my
dad.
dad, and he was just like,
Gosh, she sounds like a top G
yeah, and he's
man.
like, yeah, just don't worry, just let go of it. Yeah, what, it doesn't matter. Like, nothing used to affect him.
Nothing phased
Yeah,
him.
but the flip side to that is that he had no sense of, like, his actions are hurting people or his decisions are hurting people. You know, when he did things wrong, there was no sense of, actually, you know what? Let me recognize the part that I played in that situation. Like, he was
Mm-hmm. God,
completely,
sounds like my dad, man.
yeah, he was just so like oblivious to it. And so like, yeah, okay, I'll just crack on with my life. And I think because he was adopted by his daya, and so he was like the only child, really spoilt, like to the point where he wasn't allowed to brush his own hair and all these other things. So he was super, super spoilt.
A Dion means dad's older brother. Just
So he had like no responsibilities. And so like he took that no responsibilities to an extreme combined with his free spiritedness. And that I think that also shaped us growing up. And then when you combine that like dad figure with near death experiences, that also informed and shaped how we, my brothers and I especially, is that all right, it's done. Let's deal with it and move on.
Yeah, my dad's favorite line was "Chalo, life goes on. Life goes on. Like like it was an experience. Like anything bad happened. Oh, it was an experience. I almost crashed my car because the brakes on it would get stuck on my first car. My mom was like, "This is a death trap. Like if you press too hard on the brake would get
Oh my
stuck."
God.
And then I was coming down the Great Bar Highway and it was 40 and then it comes to a roundabout and then you obviously have to slow down and then to get onto my road to 30. So I'm then coming fine. I was maybe speeding a little, let's just be honest, whatever. But I'm approaching the roundabout. I'm putting the brake down to slow down and the brake gets stuck. And I'm like, shit. And it started juddering. I'm like, oh my God, I can't stop this car. I literally had to go at, like, I think I was going about 30 through a major roundabout. I missed a massive truck by this much. I think I closed my eyes. I was like, fuck, I can't stop. There's no way. And that's like, I didn't even think it happened so fast. I was in the middle lane as well, so I couldn't even veer off and crash into something stationary. I had to just go
Just
for it.
take it. Yeah, just go for it.
Kick how? And I literally, I think I was about 20 at the time, 19 or something at the time. I just passed my test actually. No, so I would have had to be 18 at the time. This is before I got my first car. So it was like the test one, like the one that gets handed around the family.
Yeah.
It was I think it was a Micra. A shout out to the Micro man. But honestly, I finally stopped and I was shaking. I was crying. I rang my mom. I was literally only 2 minutes down from my house, but I was just crying.
Oh,
And then I told her what happened. She fucking lost. My mom's really chill, yeah. She lost it. And my dad's thing was like, oh, there's a way of handling it when it gets stuck. And I was just like, I almost fucking died, Dad. Like you don't, but it reminds me. This is before obviously The Hangover came out, but that scene with the doctor when he's like, "But did you die though?
yeah. But did you die though?
Did you die though? But you're
What's the
here, isn't
plan?
it? Nothing happened, Dad. Actually,
Oh, it's
mental.
so funny.
Like I think back and I laugh on it now, but at the time I was livid, and my mom was obviously livid as well because he was just that very carefree,
Yeah.
relaxed attitude. And it's funny, like you were saying, your dad liked the herbs, right? My dad was teetotal, never drank, but his way of life, like his way and his outlook, and the way he was just so chill. Like so many of my friends and like some of my exes were like, "I bet your dad must smoke,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
He must smoke
There's no way he can be
ganja."
that
Like
chilled out.
he was that chilled in life, like and he doesn't drink nothing. And I was just like, it's like he was so out of it sometimes. But he's just very much like like what they had endured so many
Yeah,
hardships, I think, from being in East Africa and
yeah.
getting kicked out, and
Yeah, it might be a
obviously they've
Kenyan
had.
thing. It might be an East African thing.
I truly think it is because obviously, getting kicked out of your country with only £50 in your
Yeah.
pocket and people coming to your house with guns forcing you out of your home, like that has an impact on someone, right? And they come here and they build their empires, and it's something like I feel so grateful but and proud, but also feel they went through all this stuff and they had nothing, like no outlet, like we're talking about it here. This is a form of like release and therapy, and we're helping when we're talking about it. Back then, they were just in full on survival mode. They had to get
Yeah.
here, get stuck in, and graft and build.
I think there's like 50 Cent says that he talks about how he says being depressed and even talking about depression is such a privileged thing because most
Yeah.
people, they're in such survival mode. They don't even have the capacity to think that they're depressed. They just have to get on with it and deal with the situation that they're facing. I think he was talking about like single black mums in America or something like that. Depression is just like this privileged thing that people get to talk about. Like, you guys don't understand the reality of how lucky you are to even be able to talk about it. And it's true, like you said, like they get kicked out of East Africa. They have to come here, endure like racism and all the other shit that came with coming here, and they did what they had to do to just get us to that point. And so, like, it's impossible to blame them. They didn't have these tools, they didn't have these conversations, and in fact it's only by them being who they were and allowing us to be who we are that you get to this point where you do have the chance to have these conversations and to talk about these things. But I also feel like this has to be a journey someone wants to go on, because like I also knew the type of person that I wasn't enough. I was like, there's no way that this is life. There's got to be way more than this. This is shit. Like, there's got to be more to life than this. I remember my first job was in H&M in High Street, Kensington, in West London.
Yeah.
Going from East London to West London, seeing like Ferraris for the first time, seeing kids my age talking about going on skiing trips and holidays and spending money in the shops, and there's apartments that are £1 million apartments and houses that are £5 million houses. I'm like, wow, this whole other world exists outside of where I grew up and what I thought was normal in my upbringing. And that just set me off on this journey of like, I just need to know how, what, who, what's it going to take to get as close to that version of life as possible. And you had to like, I had to like unlearn, probably like you as well. Most people have to really unlearn a lot of the stuff that you grow up with without even knowing it. And that includes, what's the word? Trauma. The trauma from going through these painful life experiences, but then also like learning how they shape you as well, to kind of give you the best version of your today.
Yeah, man. You know, when you were just saying that Ferrari, I was thinking when you said Ferraris, I was like, Ferraris and Jaguars switching 4 lanes with the top down, screaming out, money in a thing. It's just like, so fun though. Me and Kooks bonded over our love for hip hop and rap.
100%.
So that's the thing. That's where our conversation started flowing a little bit more, isn't it? Because
It's just Nate Dogg songs at the moment.
Nate Dogg, he's my all-time favorite
What a
rapper,
guy.
man. Underrated. His voice is so sexy. It's like
Yeah,
smooth
it's like, I
chocolate,
don't know, it's like butter. I don't know what it is.
like galaxy. Like honestly, like just silky
It's
smooth,
so
man.
good.
R.I.P. Mr. Nate, Mr. Dog, Mr. N Dog, because there is another S Dog, isn't there? Yeah, no, yeah, fully, completely, and like resonate with everything that you're saying. We've got quite a lot of crossovers actually, as you were speaking as well. Like I'm the eldest as well. Like I said, I lost my grandma, my dad's mom at 7. And you know what? The weirdest thing I remember, because at that age, you don't know really what was going on. The first thing, my cousin runs up into my room and she didn't say Mama's passed away. The first thing she said was, get up. You're not going to school today. We're staying at home. Mama's passed away. But that like, split moment, my first instinct was like, yes, day off school. And then she said, Mama passed away. And I didn't even know what pass away means. So I was just like, huh? What's going on? And it's only when I went downstairs because her room was on the second floor. Attic. And then I saw everyone there. And then I was like, oh, something sad's happened. Like, what's happened? But I felt so guilty for a while before I understood what guilt was. And then I realized when I started doing this work on myself and I went back to that space, I was like, shit, I was carrying guilt from like 7 years old because the first thing I thought was like, oh, yay, I get a day off.
Really?
Yeah. And that was carrying, I didn't even realize it till later. And I was just like, where's the guilt coming from? And when I was doing my like, healing journey and like I'm still on the journey, obviously it's a journey, but I remember that memory popping up. I was like, holy shit. Like that just shows that your body holds all of these memories, even if you don't remember them or realize it.
Yeah, I think I don't know which book this is. Is it Dan? What's his name? It will come to me later on. But in one of his books, he talks about how, like, when you go through like a highly emotional experience and your body is releasing the chemicals, is releasing everything that you're feeling in your body is stored like a record in your body. And so, like, when you have a dream or you relive that experience, your body can't tell the difference between if it's real or not because it's feeling the exact same thing that it's feeling. So, like, for example, when someone splits with someone in a relationship, that how that person made you feel, like they're literally in your system, they're literally in your like cells and in your nervous system, and they are literally a part of you. And when that split occurs, when you think of that person, so if they've left stuff at your house, or like if you've had an experience with them, a shared experience, and it, you in that place again, and it triggers that shared experience, all those feelings that start coming back, your body can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not real. And
Yeah.
so, like you said, that thing from 7 years old, like feeling that guilt is, and carrying that and not knowing why you're feeling those things, that's huge, right?
Yeah, and it was only through doing the work, and then when I was doing my intuitive Reiki, and then I was doing other things as well. Then when I realized that, and then I started to release it, I was just like, oh wow, okay, now I don't feel as guilty as I had this whole thing. Like my ex used to always say as well. I was like, oh, I feel bad. I feel bad. He was like, why the fuck do you feel
Mm,
bad? Like, what are you feeling bad for? And I do say I feel bad a
mm.
lot, and now I've stopped saying that. But it stemmed from that 7-year-old thing. I was
That's
like, holy
crazy.
shit,
Like
crazy
the power,
man.
like the power of words, and how it can transform like the way that you think, the way that you act. Like I used to do this thing. I don't think I've ever shared this. So I used to do this thing. I don't know why.
Oh, it's a 111 podcast
Yeah.
exclusive,
So
people. So it's at this point in the episode I thought it'd be a good cliffhanger because this is the time of an intermission, like the old school 4.5 hour long Bollywood films that you'd see in the cinema. Then you'd have a little break in between and go and fill up your snacks, which I think is actually a really good thing. They should actually bring that back into films now, especially the Hollywood films that are like 3 hours long. But yes, go and listen to part 2, because not only are we going to be talking about the importance of mentorship and universal consciousness and what that means with your life purpose and societal roles, but like I said, Kooks is about to share an exclusive bit of insight and his experience he's never shared before. So we've got some really, really great topics that we discuss in part 2. I will see you all there, sending you love, light and blessings.